Hey everybody, Felix Stoffelbaker here. I wanted to make a video because the EOS Network Foundation is becoming a thing, and I wanted to really just put my thought out there on what I think the entirety of it is, because you can't look at EOS based off of one specific bullet point. You can't look it up based off one specific person, but as a whole and as a trend and as a movement, you can kind of see the direction it's going and the way that things tend to move once they have a bit of inertia. You know, that momentum tends to keep going in that direction for a period of time until it's basically stopped. So I wanted to put a few thoughts out there, and basically the EOS Network Foundation itself was founded out of the community itself. It was funded by the community itself, and it was created out of necessity because there was a vacuum or a lack of coordination across the entire blockchain and across the entire EOS mainnet ecosystem. And the EOS Network Foundation tends and intends to want to solve that angle. And I really have no problem with that and really have no issue with that, other than the fact that it's the one person that I find could be the potential problem. And I made a video back in June or July of 2021 about the EOS X loan vault hack. And that was an application ran by EOS Nation that was headed by Yves LaRose. And what happened was there was a code bug that was basically exploited by a anonymous hacker, which we still don't know, the identity of. But that account was able to exploit a bug in an EOS Nation application, basically stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars USD worth of crypto, stable coins, amongst other things. And Yves LaRose was essential, if not the most important person coordinating the 21 block producers to be able to reach consensus of 15 of the top 21 to be able to change the private keys of that account, assumed to be the hacker of the application that EOS Nation, that Yves LaRose was in charge of. And that's fine and that's dandy, and I made a video about how that sets a precedent that if in the future we anticipate governments and corporations such as Google and Amazon and SpaceX and Microsoft and that level of corporation being the block producers on the EOS mainnet, they could censor you based on your views if they didn't like something, all those types of things. And now we're seeing that take place in Canada, where Yves LaRose is from. And he was a Canadian banker, and that's fine in its own right, but when you put it together with everything that's happening, it's kind of concerning. More concerning than if it was a random person in the community who wasn't self-appointed. Let's not forget that in the EOS Network Foundation, Yves LaRose self-appointed himself the CEO. The concept in and of itself is great. It should be helping the EOS mainnet and forwarding mass adoption, except for the one person who stands to gain the most and who has had a track record for setting a precedent under his leadership for freezing accounts that may not be agreeable. The code that was written was handled the way the code was written, and apparently intent is law, so that was changed. Whether that's right or not, I'm just here saying what actually happened. It could go either way, but the fact of the matter is, right now it's not looking like the best interest of the average person is actually being taken into consideration, and that's concerning. So, the main person that was in charge when a exploitation of the code happened and an account was frozen is now in charge of the EOS Network Foundation, which will yield similar power, but the person was not elected by the community. And that's really the point that I want to drive home, and really one of the issues that I have. It's like, why wasn't the community voting on who it was? Why weren't we doing one of Dan Larimer's votes, where you get groups of people all voting until you reach a person? Why weren't we doing that? Instead, the one person who is connected potentially to the World Economic Forum is now in charge of the EOS Network Foundation and can control and coordinate between blog producers of who to censor, and that's a problem, I think. So I'm not opposed to the EOS Network Foundation idea. It's a great idea. It started off great, but then we basically just have an unelected bureaucrat who is running wild with power and can do anything he wants, basically, and I don't think that's right. So, call it what you want, say I'm wrong, but I'm willing to put myself out there that I've been in this since the ICO, and I see what's happening, and I'm pointing it out. And, that's all I really can do at this point. The community seems to be going along with it, and that's fine if the community wants that. But I still need to be able to put my opinion out there and why I think it has the potential to permanently alter EOS, It's one of those things. Like, it's up to the community totally, but I see what's going on and what's happening, and based on what's going on in Canada, it's interesting that this starts, because that's where total tyranny and martial law is taking place. And now, they don't have to say anything. That's not what I'm saying. It's not even political. If you can look above that and understand that all the sides are being manipulated to be played off against each other in a Cloward and Piven plan, in a Cecil Rhodes last will and testament fulfillment. Justin Trudeau, being the son of Fidel Castro, literally has it in his veins to do this type of activity, and people are just allowing it to go on. So I just wanted to put that out there. I'm not some radical crazy person like Twitter wants to portray, but I need to be able to put it out there that this is concerning, that this is a problem, that if this persists, people will be censored based on their views if they are not in alignment with the top 15 of the 21 block producers on the EOS mainnet. And EOS mainnet is set to become the settlement layer for the Bitcoin blockchain. So if you thought you were going to use Bitcoin and use it in the current system, you're going to be literally giving all that away. And I don't think people realize that. In fact, they definitely don't realize that. whenever they blame Russia for a cyber pandemic that I reported on quite some time ago being implemented by the World Economic Forum and the CIA to blame Russia as a pretext to implement a internet identification and a just new world order, basically. And that's what's going to happen. I mean, it's going to be crazy. So people are discounting all that's going on. I think the EOS Network Foundation is a good idea, but I think they picked the one and only person who compromises, corrupts, and makes it unattainable. So, literally anybody else, and I'd be for it, but I think that I should have the right to be able to put my opinion out there. And even though I'm hemorrhaging followers and people are unsubscribing quicker than they subscribed ever before, I still think that that's the truth, and me not putting it out there would be more of a disservice, especially in the future when people try to look back and see who saw this coming. If anybody, it was definitely me and a bunch of my videos, and I'm still supporting EOS. Don't forget that. If you watched this far and you've stood this long on this rant, I'm still supporting EOS. I'm buying more than ever, loving it, and waiting for it to go up in value. So just want to put that out there. That's my thoughts on the EOS Network Foundation, and do whatever you want. Stoffel Baker out.